What's going on YouTube? It's me Jade here. Today we are back in HoK Global, and for this video I'm gonna tell you guys the top 5 best support you can go for in this game. So let's get started. So number 5, Dolia. So how does Dolia work is that she can help her teammate to refresh their skill, mainly just for their ult, because ult have the most CD, and how Dolia works is refreshing your teammate that is the most CD for one of their skill, which is normally the ult. And then for Dolia, it's more of a healer, not an initiation support. So the equipment is right here. This is what I normally go for. If the enemy have a lot of heal, we take away Frozen Breath and buy Venomous stuff instead, and just build tank most of the time. And then for the Arcana, it's just 10 Harmony, 10 Void, and 10 Fate, a normal support tank Arcana, and then heal for the common skill. Sometimes people uses like Purify, Flash, it depends, but most of the time you can just go with heal. So number 4, I'm going with Lian Po. So Lian Po is a very good tank in Global right now because there is still a lot of good initiation support that is not in Global right now, but it's in CN. So Lian Po is still a pretty high priority when you want to initiate or tank when it comes to a support role. Equipment wise, you can just go with a normal full tank build, and then just Frigid Charge is very important for Lian Po, so be sure to buy it first. Afterwards, if the enemy team have a ton of magical damage like Erin, Miyue, maybe even Garuda, a lot of like poke slash more than 2 magical damage dealer, go with Succubus Cloak first instead of Ominous Premonition to help you a bit with that, or else just buy Ominous first, and then you can always use your passive to tank most of the damage that deal by a singular mage. And Blazing Cape in the end, it's more like a, if the enemy heal is crazy and then your teammate didn't buy any anti-heal, at that point if you are a support, honestly, Blazing Cape is too late game. So if the enemy team don't really have too much heal right now, or your teammate already got multiple anti-heal, just go with Overlord's Blade Mail. But if not, then Blazing Cape will still work perfectly fine for Lian Po. And for the Arcana, it will be 10 Harmony, 10 Void, and 10 Fate again. And it is just a very simple tank Arcana build. And then Flash for the common skill. I don't recommend anything else except for Flash, because Flash plus Frigid Charge can greatly increase the initiation chances for someone like Lian Po, which is kinda dumb when it comes to movement. So let's move on to number 3, Zhang Fei. So why Zhang Fei is at number 3? Mainly just because his protective and initiation is quite good compared to other hero. Mainly just because he is a different type of initiation support, where Lian Po and Lapu is more of a initiation first support, but he is more of a afterwards initiation, where it means by when the enemy rush towards you, you push them away with your ult instead of like initiating first. It's not that Zhang Fei cannot initiate first, it's more like the follow-up is pretty hard if you are playing solo queue. If you have a duo, a trio, or even a 5-man team that can follow you up quite easily, then it's a very good initiation first support. But most of the time, Zhang Fei is more of a defensive initiation support, where let's say a enemy hero Lam rush towards your ADC and you use your ult to push them away, and then maybe your second skill to stun them again. Or you can always do like the normal Zhang Fei second skill, shield first and then push them away, use your first skill to stun them again. Of course, Zhang Fei's second skill is also a very good counter against poke hero. So if enemy have a Garuda, if enemy have a Hainuo, if enemy have Mozi, then Zhang Fei is always a very good choice. So for the equipment, it will be pretty similar to Lian Po. Again, the Blazing Cape you can switch around with Overlord's Blade Mail. I always prefer these two to switch around with. Arcana is the same, the tankiest you can go for, Harmony, Void, and Fate. And then of course the common skill for Zhang Fei is a little bit different. You can always go for heal or stun. Don't use Might nowadays because Might is not that suitable for Zhang Fei anymore. But I do see a lot of global players sometimes still use Might. That is like a 3 to 4 years ago stuff in CN, so don't do that please. Alright, let's move on to number 2. So it will be Dyadia. So it's a completely different support. We got a more of a less tanky support now, but she still can tank because you buy quite a few tank equipment here and there. And then mainly her skill is that she can of course still go, that is like her main kit. And then she can heal. Of course she can still tank and then initiate here and there. Tank wise, it's not like crazy. It's more of a you tank and then you heal instead of like actual like crazy Lian Po, Zhang Fei, Lapu tank. She's more like a I deal some damage, I tank some damage, I come back and then heal a bit and then go back again. For the equipment set, it's more of a half tank, half magical attack, mainly because her kit built with magical attack when it comes to healing. But in the same time, you will need some tank. Of course, you need to sometimes initiate with her second skill and then her enhanced base attack, so it will make sense for her to build like something like frigid charge. This is a CN thing. I see a pretty little global player buying this kind of set, but this is how normally CN go for, because of course resistance is crazily important for something like Dyadia, which is like slightly tanky but still need to initiate. And then it depends on whether or not you want to buy Holy Grail. I personally will go for Holy Grail mainly just because when we do normal ranking instead of something like high rank pick or maybe something like even just esports scene, people tends to just not buy Holy Grail mainly just because it doesn't like help too much overall. But I bought it because I just want comfortability to play rank instead of like stressing out my mana. So that is how I will go for. But of course, if you don't buy Holy Grail, you can just switch this with this and then Succubus Cloak here, and of course something like Ominous Premonition over here. And then the last equipment, I will always prefer Breakthrough Rope, mainly just because it suits Dyadia a lot by all those passive, and then the main stat helps Dyadia overall with the tankiness and then the heal. But if the enemy team have a lot of heal, you can just go for something like Venomous Stuff. But for me, I still think that Venomous Stuff is more of a mid laner thing. The Mortal Punisher is more of a clash lane / farm lane thing. So I don't really recommend people to go for that. Just go with Breakthrough Rope most of the time. Should work completely fine for you. But for me, I will still prefer this just for it being less stressful when it comes to overall gameplay. But if you are playing super high rank, then just get the Holy Grail away. Just buy Frigid Charge first and then you will be good to go. So that's that for equipment. For Arcana, again, it's like the full tanky build is 10 Harmony, 10 Void, and 10 Fate. For common skill, it will always be Flash. There is nothing else to think about this. There is no flexibility on this. Just go with Flash and then you will be good to go. So before we talk about number 1, I'm gonna talk about some honorable mention here and there that is good in certain cases but not like overall great support. First thing first, Liang. Liang is a support that really depends on your teammate follow-up and then your initiation. Your team comp need to be so good for him to work well. And then most of the time, your jungling and your mid laner need to be super good at following up. That is something that you need to go and look for. For the equipment, this is what I usually go for. I know it looks weird, but it works for someone like Liang just to like scam enemy from dealing damage to you. I won't talk too much about this because I still don't think it's like a very good support if your teammate is not that good. So Arcana, we got some Huan here and there to initiate faster, and then for the common skill, it will always be Flash. There is a lot of flexibility for Liang. You can go for something like Long Night to be a full tank initiation, but if you want to do actually like start a team fight all of a sudden, early game, mid game, which is what Liang is for, it's just good to go for something like Splendor first to like scam the enemy from dealing too much damage to you and then initiate, run. That's it. That's why Liang is not like good overall, mainly just because of him being not as good late game. He can work, but it's not consistent enough. If your enemy is strong, then it's hard to play. Another honorable mention for this video is Huan. So why Huan is not that good? It's just, although she can do everything, but not in a perfect way. Huan is very good against Zhang Fei, just super strong damage dealer jungler. But in the same time, you will need to face those enemy, and your teammate need to be like a Dyadia to make Huan, to maximize Huan damage output, healing output, or just straight up just normal flow of the game. To maximize those stuff, you will need a good BP. Same goes to Liang. That's why they are in the honorable mention. So quick little thing for her equipment. I know people sometimes still prefer the Frostguard build, but this is just my own opinion. We go for Holy Grail first and then just one Ominous Premonition for some tankiness. You can switch this with Venomous Staff and then Breakthrough Rope. Again, it depends on the enemy team BP. If the enemy team have a lot of heal, you can always just go for a Venomous Stuff instead of a Frozen Breath. And then Breakthrough Rope is just a very suitable thing for like magical damage dealer that, you know, you want to heal the teammate based on her magical attack, but heal herself based on health. So this will work both way. It will work perfectly fine for Huan. And then for Arcana, it will be something like Harmony. The Huan is just there just to make her a little bit more smooth when it comes to your second skill initiation. And then Void and Fate just for tankiness. Just use Flash, nothing else for common skill for Huan. So for the final one, I will put the number 1 spot for Lapu. So Lapu is just a very strong character for pretty much any scenario. He can hit hard when it comes to initiation. He can tank crazily. He can initiate with a very low effort when it comes to, let's say, a ult, a second skill, a first skill, spin attack. Anything can initiate, so it's very good overall. The main issue with Lapu sometimes is just kiting, but if your teammate go for, let's say, a Byron, a Charlotte, they can do the enemy kiting part of stuff. You know, you can just protect your own you can initiate on your own, you can literally just tank anything and then heal back with your first skills. Although it takes some time, but it will work, right? And then for the equipment, it will be this, literally a full tank build. Lapu, you do still can go for the Blazing Cape, and it's literally the same as Zhang Fei and Lian Po, but it really depends on the enemy BP again, alright? So for the Arcana, it will be, again, Harmony, Void, and Fate. It's just how support usually work. You will only see different Arcana for something like a Cheyenne. So for the common skill, it will always be Flash. It will help you greatly with initiation. Same goes to using a Frigid Charge first. It will just help you tremendously when it comes to initiating. And of course, if the enemy rush towards you, Frigid Charge will always work very well to counter them, to like stun them without using your skill. Hope you guys learned something through this video. Again, this is not like a masterclass video, so I didn't run through all the skill that truly. If you guys have any question, feel free to ask me in the comment down below. And I really do hope this will help you guys in choosing certain hero when you guys are the first to pick. You guys can't do a lot of counter pick. Hope this helps, alright? If you guys have anything to ask in the comment, feel free to. I will answer you guys as soon as possible when I'm free. And then, yeah, that's it. Hope you guys have a great time on ranking, and we'll see you all next time.